Leonardo DiCaprio had spent decades crafting an iconic career, winning awards and captivating audiences worldwide. But nothing in Hollywood had prepared him for what awaited in a small courtroom in Los Angeles. It started with a simple letter. A neatly folded envelope arrived at his Beverly Hills estate, no return address. His assistant handed it to him, curiosity flickering in her eyes. "It's marked urgent," she said. Leonardo opened it, his sharp blue eyes scanning the crisp legal document inside. A claim has been filed against the estate of the late George DiCaprio, alleging undisclosed heirs. He reread the sentence. Then again. It didn't make sense. His father, George DiCaprio, was still very much alive. Leonardo grabbed his phone, dialing immediately. "Dad, did you file something about your estate?" There was a pause. "Leo, I have no idea what you're talking about." The next morning, his lawyer called with urgent news. "Leo, you need to be at court tomorrow. Someone is claiming to be your long-lost sibling and demanding a share of your family's inheritance." Leonardo frowned. "What inheritance?" A silence filled the line. "That's what we need to figure out." The media swarmed outside the courthouse as Leonardo stepped out of his car, dressed in a sharp charcoal suit, his lawyer beside him. Camera flashes exploded as reporters shouted questions. "Mr. DiCaprio, do you acknowledge this mystery heir? How do you respond to the fraud allegations? Is this a family scandal?" Leonardo ignored them, his jaw tightening as he pushed through the heavy wooden doors into the courtroom. Inside, a young man sat across the room, his posture confident, his gaze locked on Leo. He looked strangely familiar, dark hair, strong jawline, piercing eyes. The judge called for order. "We are here for the case of Alexander Romano, who claims to be the biological son of George DiCaprio and entitled to his share of inheritance. Mr. Romano, state your case." Alexander stood. "Your Honor, my mother and George DiCaprio had a private relationship before he married Leo's mother. I was never acknowledged. I have DNA evidence proving my lineage. I have letters, documents, and I have the right to claim what is mine." Leonardo remained silent, his lawyer whispering, "We need to see that DNA test." The judge nodded. "Mr. Romano, present your evidence." A folder was handed over, and as Leonardo's attorney flipped through the documents, his expression hardened. Something wasn't right. Then, the bombshell came. "Your Honor," Leonardo's lawyer spoke up, "this DNA test is fabricated. The company it was conducted with doesn't even exist." Gasps echoed in the courtroom. Alexander's face paled. The judge's gavel banged. "Mr. Romano, you are claiming to be the heir to George DiCaprio's estate, but your DNA test is already in question. Do you have anything to say?" Alexander hesitated. "The test was real. Maybe a mistake was made, but I know who I am." Leonardo leaned forward, finally speaking. "Then why didn't you come to me first? If you truly believed we were family, why make this public spectacle?" Alexander's lips parted, but no words came. Leonardo's lawyer turned to the judge. "Your Honor, we have reason to believe Mr. Romano has been manipulated into making this claim. We request a second DNA test through a verified lab." The judge considered this, then nodded. "The court orders an official DNA test. We reconvene in 1 week." Alexander's lawyer whispered something in his ear, and for the first time the young man looked uncertain. A week later, the courtroom was packed. The media had blown the case into a frenzy, speculating on secret siblings and hidden family fortunes. Leonardo sat calmly, waiting as the judge shuffled papers. "The results are in," the judge said. "The DNA test confirms that Alexander Romano is not biologically related to George DiCaprio." A collective gasp filled the room. Alexander slumped in his seat. His lawyer looked defeated. Leonardo sighed. "Who put you up to this?" he asked Alexander. Alexander hesitated before whispering, "My mother. She always said I deserved more, that I belonged somewhere else. She convinced me this was real." Leonardo studied him, then shook his head. You don't need a famous name to be someone. Find your own way. The judge dismissed the case, and as Leonardo walked out, cameras flashing, he felt relief. It was over. Or so he thought. As he got into his car, his lawyer handed him an envelope. This was delivered to my office this morning. Leonardo opened it, his eyes narrowing. Inside was a single note. This was only the beginning.